Hello. Good evening, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Good evening, Mr. Gomez.
Good evening, Tracy.
Good evening.
Is it raining as hard there as it is here?
It's pouring down, yes.
Sure is.
Well, I know, Mr. Vice Mayor, you're just down the street, but I don't know where Tracy
Oh.
is. I'm here at City Hall Annex, and I think the noise is a little bit louder in the front area here, as opposed to in my office where there's 2 floors. You can hear the rain bouncing off the roof here. So it's a little louder.
Okay, we got 3 more minutes.
Hello, this is Steven.
Hey,
Hello,
Steven.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Stephen, it's raining at your house too?
Sure is. Has been for off and on, all afternoon and every day this week, just about.
We have Councilman Carroll and Vice Mayor Yasu so far
Okay.
from the council.
If Howard, if we're the only council members that show up, does that mean we get an extra cut of the CARES money?
Oh,
Yeah. You would have not known if that was the case. I would make sure I wouldn't tell nobody. I'm just kidding.
I think that was in the fine print. I think that was in one of the footnotes of the contract that Stephen drafted.
I think Deborah said she won't be available to make it today, but let me see.
So do we, since we only have 5 council members, do we just need 3 for a quorum?
No, we still need 4.
We still need 4?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I was talking, but I was on mute. I do think that we need 4 for a quorum, but I'm gonna double check on that in the charter.
Okay.
Lara said she could make it, right?
Yeah. Laura's not gonna make it. I mean, Deborah's not gonna make it. I'm not sure about
Yeah,
Laura.
no.
Deborah just called in.
Deborah's on.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay,
thank
great.
you.
Yeah,
We need
she's-
one more person.
So yeah, we're just missing Councilman Hassan and Councilwoman Hopkins. Just need one of the 2.
Yes, so the charter, section 2.02D states that any 4 members of the council constitute a quorum. So it really doesn't matter that we're temporarily down to.
So if we were ever to be down 3, we just couldn't do business.
That's
Well,
correct.
we could. They would all 4 remaining would have to be there.
Well, down 3, I mean.
2, 3, you
Well,
mean?
I mean,
3 council members,
Right,
and I don't know if the mayor counts the quorum or not.
Yes, the mayor
the mayor
does.
does count.
Okay.
So it takes a separate rule is that it takes 3 affirmative votes. The mayor can be the 4th person for a quorum.
Okay.
Does that apply if we're down 1?
Yes. So but if we had a meeting with 4 people in the meeting, then a majority vote would be 3, which is what's required anyway, according to the charter. If we had 3 people in the meeting, we couldn't take the vote, even if they all agreed.
Okay. I got disconnected. I'm back.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
We don't want to lose you now. Okay.
Hello?
All right, you're
Thank
here.
you for joining
sorry.
us.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm at my
All right.
mother's house and they cut the power. Okay. Never mind. I'm here.
All right. We're going to go ahead and start. Are you recording already? Okay. Perfect.
Yes. Yep.
Good evening. It's Friday, August 21st, 2020, 14 p.m. right now. This is a special call meeting, and I call this meeting to order. I will begin with roll call, and I will call out your names. If you could say aye. Councilmember Carroll.
Aye.
Councilmember is not in. Councilmember Hopkins.
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
And this is Vice Mayor Iyasu. I am also on the call. We don't have any old business. Before we start a new business, I will allow people, if they have any comments regarding this agenda item, I will allow you to make short comments. Just as always, 3 minutes limit, please. There's nobody there's nobody want to comment, so I'm going to close the public comment time. We're going to go to start with new business. We have one new business, which is consider approving an intergovernmental agreement with DeKalb County regarding acceptance and expenditure of funds under the Federal CARES Act for COVID-19 relief. And I want to recognize our city manager, Robin Gomez. And before I say that, I just want to mention that we have been on discussion with the county for over
We
2
can't
months
hear you.
now. And this is hopefully the last stage before we can proceed with this. And Mr. Gomez, if you could give us the background on this.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Again, this is Robin Gomez, the Clarkston City Manager. As the Vice Mayor has stated, this has been an ongoing item for longer than a few weeks, it seems, really between representatives of the cities, most recently through delegation from the DeKalb Municipal Association to the City of Brookhaven's mayor and city attorney, to work with the office of the DeKalb County CEO, Mr. Thurman, to come up with an agreement between the DeKalb County and the 12 cities for the county to redistribute the allocation to the 12 cities, to redistribute the monies from the Federal CARES Act adopted several months ago that provided funding for COVID-19 related items, expenses, to governments with a population of at least 500,000. So in the state of, other than the 50 states, counties and cities with populations of at least 500,000 received a direct appropriation through the federal law. It was then I guess left up to the counties like DeKalb how to in turn then share or redistribute any of that funding to the incorporated cities within those counties. I wanted to point out that because this was in the news recently, the governor, Georgia's governor, and through the Georgia Municipal Association are also I shouldn't say also, but are at about the same time redistributing money that the state received to all the other counties. So the other 154 counties and the municipalities, the cities that are outside of the 4 counties. I believe it's 4 counties, Stephen can correct me, the 4 counties that received a direct distribution: Cobb, Fulton, Gwinnett, and DeKalb. So the state created a process, I should say, for all the other cities and counties to receive their CARES Fund distribution. So, but back to our item, this tonight is for the council to approve an IGA that Mr. Quinn provided to us that would allow us to proceed really to obtain a final agreement from the county. And I'll turn it over to Stephen in a moment to provide some of the details. But as of apparently earlier today, we still do not have a final agreement with the county. What we are requesting is that the council approve this agreement, adopt a resolution to approve the agreement that would allow us to in essence, enter into a final agreement to allow myself to, representing the city, and Mr. Quinn to continue to negotiate, finalize an agreement, and make it available for the vice mayor's ability to sign on behalf of the city council. Stephen, I'll turn it over to you to add, correct what I stated, certainly add to what I stated.
Thanks, Robin. No, nothing to really correct. It was the 4 counties plus City of Atlanta that got direct distribution. So all the cities outside of those 4 counties are on a different path with the state, as you mentioned. As far as what's going on with negotiating with DeKalb County, they've indicated a willingness to share these funds and an exact amount that they would give each city. When they presented their proposed IGA to the city attorneys, been probably 2 weeks ago or more, there were some issues in there. The one that I find to be the most objectionable is that it said if the county determines that the city has not spent the funds in the right way, then the county tax commissioner will seize our property tax revenues without any due process and just deliver those funds to DeKalb County instead of the city of Clarkston. We have bonds out there, and that just seems like a big problem. So that's the number one thing that the city attorneys have asked the county to change. Unfortunately, there's been sort of a lack of engagement from DeKalb County, but the DeKalb Municipal Association, led by the mayors of the various cities, appointed Brookhaven's mayor and city attorney as our negotiating leaders. And I guess it's just a matter of time until they get to sit down with the CEO and hopefully work this out. The big thing about the CARES money is that they have to be spent by December 30th. And so obviously we can't spend them when we don't have them. On the other hand, expenditures that are made before we receive the funds can be reimbursed. So what I'm suggesting that the council do is approve the resolution tonight that has as Exhibit A the IGA as revised by the city attorneys to remove the parts that we thought were a problem. And then Exhibit B will be a list of the spending areas that the council wants to spend these funds on, and either a dollar amount or a range for the categories adding up to the total amount.
Can modifications be made later, Stephen?
Well, so the list is not required, as far as I can tell, by the CARES Act or the federal government. They look at it on the back end. So from that perspective, yes. It's DeKalb County that wants to see the list, and since they're not engaging with us, it's hard to say what would be the consequence of later changing it. I guess that's kind of a long way to say that it probably could be changed later, but we should try to get it as final as we can.
Actually, on Section 5, subsection C of the county's resolution, it actually says within 30 days of receipt of funds under the agreement, each recipient city shall provide a resolution or ordinance a proposed list of spending items to be funded from proceeds under the agreement. So anyway, we are actually doing it ahead of time, so that's a plus. So we can definitely still we still have a room to amend it if necessary, I believe.
Right. That's a great point, Mr. Vice Mayor. I mean, that's assuming that that's the language in the final agreement. But yes, 30 days after. See, and that is suggesting that the county is going to approve or disapprove our expenditures, which really seems unnecessary. But based on that language, we would be able to change it up until 30 days after we actually got the money. But we don't know whether the county would try to say they don't approve. So that's why I would like to get them the best list we can as early as we can.
And
I just want to add one more question while we are at it. I just see subsection D says, any and all funds distributed by the county pursuant to this agreement shall be allocated or spent no later than December 1st. So I kind of see two dates. I saw December 30th and December 1st. So which one is the date that we have to spend it on?
Well, according to the CARES Act, the federal law, it has to be spent by December 30th. I think the county wants us to spend by December 1st so that they can kind of be a middleman. And that's one of the points that we've asked them to change. Just let us do the spending and then report on it.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's again, that's a question I can't totally answer because there's two sets of rules, one that the federal government put on the money and one that the county wants to put on the city.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Quinn. And by the way, for those who are listening or watching the meeting, the amount of money that we are expecting is going to be $1,433,288. And originally, actually, I thought we were going to get about 770,000 roughly, but well, it's good. So we will get about $1.4 million if this agreement goes through. Any questions or comments from the council? Or I think Mr. Gomez, did you want to add something?
I was, Mr. Vice Mayor and Council, I was going to add that, I mean, ultimately, because this is federal funding, ultimately it all reverts back to the law, to the federal act, to the federal law. So everybody has to comply with that. And as I've shared with Council before, and also provided a copy of the language that is in the Federal CARES Act, the language that specifies what the money can be spent on. We and the other 11 cities and every other government in this country has to follow that. We would follow that as it was created and as intended. So it's interesting the requirements the county is putting on the cities, but we will do what we need to do to get this going, and for all the cities to receive this funding.
That's correct, Mr. Gomez. And just to give a rough general parameter on what the money could be used, it has to do either as a response to COVID in terms of medical response, or it could be dealing with the economic fallout of the pandemic. So those are the two broad areas that we could use the funds for, from my understanding.
And council also is in this agenda item toward the beginning related to the money spent. We included in here what has been spent through Wednesday, I believe, whatever the date is on here. And then
Yes.
just an idea, really trying to speculate for the rest of this year, really through December 1st, taking into account the county's last spendable date. That's what's listed on the screen for those who have a screen. So far, we've spent just over $332,000, and we would be, as of now, and again, we can change this, but through December 1st, that we would spend approximately $969,000. Just in the past week, there were requests to add really two additional categories, number 11 and 12, some funding for workforce development, and also to use some of the funding, $100,000 for each. But number 12 on the list, utility payment assistance. So that's just what we spent to date and what we're looking to spend. But of course, what we're looking to spend, or the forecast through December 1st, that can change. And as was pointed out in the agreement, we would have up to 30 days after to provide this list or another list to the county. But as Mr. Quinn stated, we can certainly provide it next week or Monday if we have, whenever the county would like it, we can provide this list.
Any other comments from the council? All right, if there is none, I will entertain a motion.
Councilman Carroll, I move that we approve the intergovernmental agreement as written and authorize Vice Mayor Yasu to sign same upon the county approving it.
I second that. So we have a motion and a second. And any discussion, any last discussion from the council? All right, I'll call out your names. If you could say aye or nay or abstain. Councilmember Carroll?
Aye.
Councilmember Hopkins?
Aye.
Councilmember Johnson?
Aye.
And this is Vice Mayor Yasu. I also vote aye. This motion carries, and we don't have any other agenda item, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. So we have a motion and a second. All who are in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Nobody opposed. So meeting adjourned. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Y'all have a good night.
All right.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.